Hi everyone. It's been quite a few Tuesdays, but and it's not even Tuesday today to make things even weirder. But for the past several weeks, I've either been busy or when I haven't been busy, I've been spending the day reading so much that I haven't been diligently posting videos to YouTube like I should be. But I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of get back into the swing of things. And I have a tag video today. And at the end of the video, the very end, I'll make a little channel announcement about hopefully a new and improved aspect of the channel to anticipate in the future. But the last week of June, I think it was June 24th or so, Peg from the History Shelf tagged me in a tag called the Nosy BookTuber tag. It has 8 questions, um, and I'll just jump into those and answer those. Question number 1: how many books have you read this year? Well, for someone who claims to be a reader, probably not as many as I should have, but I'll fess up and I'll say it it from the few times I've seen other people do this, this is the lowest number by far I've ever heard. But the first 6.5 months of 2020, I've only had the time to read 14 books. Um, as anyone who knows this channel and watches this channel on a regular basis knows, a lot of the books that I read are not fluff. They are, sort of require some concentration, reflection. Um, Not to say I shouldn't have. That's the good reason to have only read 14, but a lot of people have a wider taste in books that allows them to sort of get through many more in a shorter period of time. I don't. So, also this year I've been reading mostly tougher nonfiction, or at least nonfiction that I like to spend a lot of time thinking about. So, also for several weeks this year, there have been stretches where I haven't read a single page at a time, simply because of work and how much I've had of it, and deadlines and stuff like that. Question number 2: of the books you've read, which is your favorite? And which is your least favorite? Well, I didn't have an answer to the second question. Do I? I don't know. There have been a couple that I didn't really like. I was mostly more interested in answering the first question, which one I've liked the most. And that would by far be this one. This is Henry David Thoreau, A Life, by Laura Dassau Walls. It is put out by the University of Chicago. And I read this in, I think it was April, with 3 wonderful, insightful, intelligent women. I read it with Sharon from Sharon Goforth, Peg, aforementioned from the History Shelf, and Hannah from Hannah's Books. I'm currently working on a review, which is going to be heavily informed by our 4-way Voxer discussion that we had about the book. Really loved it. Beautiful, insightful, reflective, informative biography of a really, really, really important person. My least favorite book this year would probably be, I do not, in all honesty, have it because I didn't pull it because I didn't see the least favorite when I first read the question. It's probably another biography, actually, of Lillian Hellman. This is by a woman named Alice Kessler Harris, I believe is her name, and it's called The Life of Lillian Hellman, A Difficult Woman, or something like that. I'll also be posting a review of that. For many reasons, it was just sort of a highly idiosyncratic biography. She made some really weird choices in how to tell the story, like, for example, not in chronological order, which didn't really do much for the book or for the way it was told. But I'll talk about that more in the review. Number 3, do you have a favorite time and place that you like to read? So the place is, I don't know if you can see it, maybe right. Okay, so it's over my shoulder right here, and it's back there in that sort of living nook right there. There's a recliner and a couch, and I sit in one of those. And Win is almost always at night, but sometimes during the day, and sometimes in bed. But I find that if I read too much in bed, unless I'm sitting up in bed, I will tend to fall asleep. So, number 4, how many hours per day do you have the opportunity to read? Well, I can say, I can compare ideal days versus how much I usually get the opportunity to read when I get the opportunity to do so at all. So if I had my druthers, I would say probably 3 to 5 hours a day. I'm not someone who would even want to read 10 or 12 hours a day. I mean, I have no desire to do that. I have too many other interests and things to do. In actuality, though, it's usually, like I said, at night, more like 1 or 2 hours a night. Sometimes I start as late as 10 or 11 p.m., and I'll read off and on until 1 or 2 in the morning. However, on weekends and holidays, if I don't have anything to do, I can push it up more towards the ideal amount, which I said is 3 to 5 hours a day. Do you read, number 5, do you read only physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks, or a combination of all three? I have never read an ebook. I have never read an audiobook, if that's what we insist on calling it. Only physical books, and to be quite honest, not to sound too much like a troglodyte, but that's really all I'm interested in reading. What is your main pet peeve when trying to read? Well, there's one big class of things, and that would be any kind of repetitive noise or any kind of repetitive visual cue or signal that I keep getting, out of the corner of my eye or something like that. So I can stand soft conversation, soft music, even though they're not preferred. But anything like a television or especially a sitcom with a laugh track or anything like that really just drives me crazy. Also, seeing a light from the television out of the corner of my eyes can also be very distracting. I grew up in a house. Thankfully, it's not the case now, but I grew up in a household where pretty much every single room had a television in it. So that's one of the pet peeves I grew up with. If again I had my druthers, I would do all of my reading in pretty much what could be called a sensory deprivation chamber. Number 7, what's the strangest place you've found yourself reading? I don't know if it's strange, but it's strangely beautiful. There is a place in San Antonio. I happen to live right smack between San Antonio and Austin, Texas. And there's a wonderful place right in the heart of downtown San Antonio called, it's right next to the San Antonio Zoo and a lot of other things downtown. It's called the Japanese Tea Garden. And I will actually leave a link in the drop-down notes for anyone who's curious about what the Japanese tea garden in San Antonio looks like. If you ever happen to visit, make sure and go there, even if it is ridiculously hot, like it will be for the next probably 2 months. It is worth seeing. Usually you can get in for free, and it's just sort of like a paradise there. You can sit down, you can walk through it, you can sit on a bench, sit on the ground, and just really do nothing but immerse yourself in whatever you're doing, whether it's just observing nature or reading a book. Number 8, are you a critical reader, or do you read for enjoyment? Okay, so I'm not quite sure where this question is coming from, because I do both. That question sounds like critical readers are over here, people who read for enjoyment are over here, and never the twain shall meet. But I think there is some overlap in that Venn diagram, I hope. In fact, actually, I think the more critically that I tend to read a book, the more time and effort and thought I'm allowed to put into it, the more I generally end up enjoying it. The more I get out of it, the more I also remember it too. So those are my answers to the Nosy BookTuber tag. My announcement is that Peg from the History Bookshelf was kind enough to send me for my birthday something that's going to allow me to make a big improvement to the videos that I post in this channel. I started this channel, I just thought about it earlier today, when I was 30 years old. And this past weekend I celebrated my 38th birthday. Almost every single video that I've posted to this channel has been made with the built-in webcam. Do you even call it a webcam? The one that's built into the laptop. And hence the rather shoddy quality of both the audio, but more so the visual, I've heard. And over the last almost 8 years, I've heard this critique, probably half a dozen times, usually very artfully and understated by people that bring it up. Sometimes not so understated. But if you don't happen to like the way that my videos look on this parsnip-like, rutabaga-like webcam that I have, it will soon be looking much better, I hope. I actually tried to install the camera that Peg sent me, so kindly sent me, by the way. Thank you, both Peg and Martine. I know it was a dual effort. But my computer is so old, it has Windows 7 on it, and it doesn't automatically recognize it when you plug the camera into one of the portals. It has to be at least Windows 10. So I go to pick up my new laptop, which I bought myself for my birthday, on Saturday. So hopefully this is the last video where you will be seeing me with an unusually yellow, musty background, looking like I came out in 1987. I don't know what's going on, but even when the laptop was new, it looked like this. But hopefully that will all be fixed very, very soon, and I will post a few books I bought next week, and maybe a review or so. I have quite a few that I've been writing, including a review of this wonderful book that I want to share with everyone very, very soon. Again, Laura Dassau-Wall's biography of Thoreau. But there are also quite a few others I want to share as well. Until next week, and until I have hopefully a much better webcam, I will see you later.